Good links. You join the channel here over at subscribe.org for the mailbox. If you want to mail me a comic or a cool pocket knife or something. Anita Sarkeesian and the end of a 15-year-long feminist grift. So feminists, though, hey, nice milkers, credit where credit is due. So feminist frequency was a brilliant grift that started about 2010. It was a wrecking ball through the video game industry. Like all feminists everywhere, she sucked the fun out of everything she got involved with. Which makes it better is that she didn't actually play video games or know anything about the games or the industry or anything about anything at all other than she knew a way to cash in, to surf the current wave, which, got to admire. It's so evil and sociopathic. You almost have to respect people like her and Zoe Quinn. I mean, she has her own fascinating history behind her involving. She actually has a body to her name. Credit to her for that. Where you don't have a conscience, you're free to be a parasite all you want. There's no inner voice telling you, this is not a good thing. Maybe it's like they don't think other people are real. It's with the sociopaths and borderline personalities. Other people outside their window are less real to them, depending on how far the spectrum you are, until people eventually get tired of the grift and get the horse paste. I don't know if we can say those stuff to clean you out of the system. It's like, didn't that horse paste win all kinds of awards for its? Well, yes, technically. Okay, I mean, hashtag send me some comic books and join the subscribe star. Someone sent me some very nice silver coins with an unusual imprint on them. I didn't know silver coins were on the table. People sent pocket knives, and I got some silver coins. I feel like a real internet thought now. So she would talk about video games and say it must have been made by the evil blue-eyed males, and that was back when they still knew what a male was. And people got on Twitter and pointed out, yeah, it's actually made by a female who happens to be a fuzz bumper, a woman who wears Birkenstocks. She enjoys fish tacos quite a bit. Anita had no idea what she was talking about, but it didn't stop her from cashing those. I'm sure she had a Patreon and all that kind of stuff. Or she'd talk about a game's narrative and character relationships, but she'd get the facts of the relationship in the game universe wrong. It was painfully clear that she hadn't played the game, and people started to understand she doesn't actually play any of the games. She's just cashing in. It's just a pure grifter. Because 99% of the people playing those FPS type of games are men. Vagina enjoyers play those popping balloon games that I guess are a simplified version of Tetris, which the AK, the T-34 was some of the rare things to come out of Russia that didn't suck. Then they made the Lada, which very much did suck. Anyways, she established herself on social media as a pure and obvious grifter parasite who is trying to extort video game companies and gullible teenage girls from their donation money who thought that they were oppressed in the first world because of vagina. And let's be honest about this. When she started this, she was probably in her late 20s, and she was skinny and it wasn't, she was easy on the eyes, at least when she was younger, where if she was, 30 pounds heavier or something, she just would never have been a thing. Like, the only thing that made her palatable to teenage girls to get on board with was she looked okay. She was skinny, and she's, they kind of liked what they were seeing. They liked the presentation. They just would not have gotten on board with a fat chick. So, I mean, it was not, the things she was saying weren't so important. It was just, she was kind of a little bit of a cult of personality. The feminists always seem to ignore the brutalities in the Middle East and Africa, or the sex trade of children around the world, or child brides. I mean, you saw what happened when what was that movie, The Sound of Freedom, came out? It's actually doing surprisingly well. The budget was like $14 million, and it's probably going to make 10 times the budget, which is pretty rare. But you saw the reaction of the left wing to that movie. Hey, it's like, hey, it's a fictionalized movie. No movie is a documentary, but it's bringing attention to an important issue, and for some reason that made the left very nervous. Gee, why is that, left wing? What are you saying? It's like, there's going to be a lot that comes out about the left wing. So they just focused on video games of a girl in a bikini, or some kind of costume with big bouncy milkers, and they pressured the video game companies to dial it down. when the company should have just flat out ignored them from the beginning, and the movement would have stagnated right there instead of go on as a 15-year grift, and was probably responsible for a few thousand girls not meeting a man during their kind of peak attractiveness years, that window, and never having kids, which is the secret goal of feminism, to genocide people who look like you. If you give globalist parasites an inch, they will worm their way in and spread their cancer, AIDS, monkeypox of Bolshevism wherever they go. Feminist Frequency was their YouTube channel that up until about 2016 did have some serious watch time for some of the early ridiculous videos about boobs and butts in video games. And then after 2016, it was just kind of hanging on. You can look at the video counts of the later videos. Teenage girls got into feminism up until about 2016. Then it started to die for two reasons. They focused almost all of their energy on Trump. Trump derangement syndrome is a real syndrome. There are people who are still broken by that, and I don't think they're ever going to recover. And then the trans movement started gaining popularity. So suddenly these feminist girls who were using this movement for some social media attention, they were getting pushed out of the way by boys who were simply putting on skirts and lipstick and putting themselves at the top of the hierarchy. And then the boys were lecturing the girls on the true meaning of womanhood, and the girls had to just kind of sit back and accept it because they'd created this Frankfurt School hierarchy of oppression, and the guys came along and used it to put themselves at the top, which is brilliant. So the energy started to shift out of it being a girls' movement to them being second-class citizens in a movement that they had created. They had to play supporting roles to men, which is awesome. That's kind of the way it should be. Based, guys. So maybe it was the gamers' revenge, because video games got ruined, so the guys put on dresses, and then they set out to ruin feminism, which they have pretty successfully done. They've caused a very serious schism with the TERFs and the TRAs or something. So men in feminism, huh? That's like they caused they caused the rift, and like none of you feminists think that's like it's okay to, because they're globalists. They're not, like, the concept of globalism versus nationalism is they have to be inclusive to everyone. So they don't have any core dogma. They can't, where like nationalists can draw a circle around our beliefs and go, this is us. If you're not down with this belief system, then you're not us, and you go do your own thing. It's like, it's easy. You just set that up front. But this left-wing Bolshevik movement is, we have to be inclusive to everyone marginalized and oppressed, so someone just has to say they're marginalized and oppressed, and pretty soon they can take over your movement. And they can't really do anything about it, because they can't say, yeah, we need to start being exclusive and have boundaries, because being exclusive and have boundaries is what the right does, and they can't do that, so they would rather allow a movement to implode than set up boundaries, because boundaries and excluding people, well, that's what Hugo Boss does, and that's the right wings all does that. It's like, yeah, if you guys couldn't straw man an argument, you really wouldn't have an argument. Anyway, so Anita used Feminist Frequency to accrue a nice amount of money for herself. I haven't looked into her. I mean, you can go on LexisNexis and look up her real estate holdings. I'm sure she probably bought a house out of this and probably has a rental property also, but I'm not willing to do that kind of research for a video that will get $1.73. So she got a bunch of money that she, like BLM. They were just, so you're going to use that money for your feminist cause or for BLM, or you're going to build a school or do something? No, I'm going to buy property in Los Angeles and like make it a halfway house for abused women or something. No, I'm just going to rent it out. And use the money for... No, I'm just going to keep the money. Why wouldn't I keep the money? Oh, okay. So it's a scam the whole time? Yeah. Yeah, almost all this stuff is a scam the whole time. But definitely join my Subscribestar and donate to me. So post 2016, a lot of the... I'm not getting a ton of money over there. Post 2016, a lot of the energy was leaving the feminist movement, and she and Zoe Quinn were openly begging on Twitter to be hired by video game companies as consultants to fix their sexist games. But the companies slowly kind of wised up to it, and they started ignoring them, and they just toned down the sex appeal themselves. They didn't need to pay anyone to tell them to give the girls a little smaller boobs and give them, like they were in bikini armor, so they just started to make the armor a little bit bigger, because the men weren't in bikini armor. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you have an argument, but the other side of the argument is, oh, hey, this is our video game. We're going to make the girls in bikini armor, and that's the way it's going to be. Like, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. That's what you should have said right off the bat. And the people who were offended by it weren't buying it in the first place. And you would have probably had the better selling video game out there. That's like, you're just better off right from the start laying these things out and say, yeah, this isn't for everything. This isn't for everyone. We're not inclusive for everyone. This is we have these boundaries of this is what we want our property to be. Either you're on board with it or you're not. And hey, no hate. Just go find something that you are on board with. Or in the case of Zoe Quinn, go make her own video game. Depression Quest. The name sounds depressing. It's like, oh, I just want to. Do I drink? Do I drink and take pills when I play Depression Quest? Yeah, you probably don't want to have any firearms near you when you play the game. Like, there's nothing about that game that sounds appealing. And then she wrote a comic book. She wrote 5 issues of some Blade Runner comic book ripoff. Unbelievably horrible. That was when feminism. I think that was after. She wrote it before the news of her. In being involved in a guy's self-deletion came out, and then after that stuff came out, people didn't want anything to do with her because she had said some stuff about some guy, and I guess the guy just couldn't. It affected him deeply. It's like that's why I like this court of public opinion on social media. What's going on now with people and these witch trials, man? It's just it destroys a country. It's like, yeah, looks around at America. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. I mean, it's one of the things that's helping to destroy America. It's like you can't live in an environment of fear like that. Nothing's going to get done. People are going to be afraid to do anything. That just makes a country implode. Why would you want to live in a terminally low trust society where you're surrounded by these political commissars who are just itching for a reason to call your employer, call your bank, get you fired, have the banks cancel your accounts, get you banned from all these things, get you unpersoned? Like, why would you? That society like that can't go on. You realize that, right? And like, no, we're just gonna accelerate it. And so at this point, you look at it and go like, oh, okay, step on the gas. And when you're on the right and say that, they kind of look at you weird. They don't. You go like, yeah, there's no fixing this. Just step on the gas. Take it all the way to destruction. Anyway, so she was using her YouTube channel to pretty much stay in an echo chamber with a shrinking audience of girls who were slowly realizing that, yeah, they could pick feminism and they could be single forever, and that's what was happening, or they could leave it behind and get married and have kids and fulfill their true purpose in life, which is to be a mommy and a wife and raise kids. Anyway, thanks to Eddie for the unusual coins. I don't know if I can show them. YouTube is a little bit funny about things. Vegan, LG, and everyone else on Subscribestar, and the anonymous people have been sending pocket knives anonymously for some reason, and comic books and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Cecil, for he sent me a whole big box of assorted comics. A very, very sweet. Cecil is really a saint of a person. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.